15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everyone to Game Week 20 preview. Jason, you had an excellent Game Week 19. Excellent choices for you and a big nice green arrow, correct?
Yeah, no chips used, 106 points. I'm pretty happy going into the second half of the season with all my chips intact. 173k rank, I think, now.
Exactly. I wanted to use my triple captain on KDB, but some sort of computer error kind of saved me from doing that. So I also did not use any chips, and all my chips are still intact as well. However,
lucky break.
I had a nice big red arrow, unfortunately. But Jason, hopefully you've got some tips for me and tips for our viewers to change it around and get some nice green arrows with Game Week 20, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm ready to rock for the second half of the season.
In this video, we'll be just kind of discussing a recap of Game Week 19, go over our typical watch lists, some of our recommendations. Jason has a nice player spotlight is back again for this video. And then we also give our final top three recommendations each for the next 4 game weeks. But before we do get into that, likes, subscribes, and comments are very much appreciated. You know, likes are how the YouTube algorithm gets others to see this content. So if you guys are enjoying our videos, please just give us a little like. And also would like to shout out Fantasy Football Scout. You can see their link down below. Excellent content. We'll be mentioning a lot of stats in our video, and they're all coming from their member site, which I highly recommend. Right, Jason?
Yep, absolutely. You got to use it every week.
Okay, let's get into the Game Week 19 recap. Jason, tell me what you saw.
Yeah, so double game week, a lot of games to go over. Man City, probably first and foremost. Their defense was absolutely dominant. John Stones had his brace in the first match. Yeah, I think big at the back is definitely the way to go for City, especially going forward with Kevin De Bruyne injuring his hamstring in the second match. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks now. So we'll talk City replacements a little later on. So next up, Liverpool, their struggles continued. Salah, 5 blanks in a row, just as the Zambian witch doctor predicted. I think they'll be better going forward. They just played the FA Cup match against Man United today. Salah had a brace. They ended up losing, but I think, seeing them on the score sheet was probably a good sign going forward. For West Ham, another huge popular team for the double game week. Michail Antonio, I was a little shaky on him going into this because he was just coming back from a hamstring injury. But he definitely returned in style, scored a goal in both matches. He looks like he's back and ready to rock right now for West Ham. Their defense also looks very strong, has some great underlying stats. So I think they're definitely a team to invest in and look to going forward. Leeds also kind of continued to falter. They've been a little off form lately. Lost 1-0 to Brighton. Pretty disappointing. They also lost their double game week, obviously, right before it began with their match against Southampton being postponed. So definitely misery for everyone who transferred in all their Leeds players in anticipation for a nice double game week.
Right, exactly. Bad stuff from Leeds defense owners and Bamford owners. Both categories I'm in. Anyways,
that's unfortunate.
Wolves and West Brom kind of started the week. A nice high-scoring game. We saw Pereira, an early fantasy favorite, kind of get back in with goal scoring with 2. I thought Robinson as well played a great game. He had 2 assists. Youngster Fabio Silva was impressive to me as well. Someone maybe I might consider start putting on my watch list if his run continues. He had a goal in this game.
Yep, and 1 bonus point to in addition to that, so
Yep.
pretty nice.
Chelsea are lots of rumors about Lampard. The Germans have kind of faltered. Mason Mount did get Chelsea the 1-0 win in the first game, but Leicester really shut them down 2-0. Excellent win from Leicester. Interesting to see. Vardy had plenty of chances. I think he had something like 8 shots in the box. 4 shots in the box in the last 2 games, and he just did not produce for them. So quite unfortunate. But for the midfield owners, specifically Maddison, you guys got a goal from him, which was excellent. And then speaking of just consistency, Kane and Son continue their rampage. Jason, this was the one you kind of called out on the Fantasy Football Scout article, correct?
Yep, yeah, my focus for that was the single game weekers who had a nice fixture. I called out Kane and Son and said, put them in your squad. Sure enough, Harry Kane alone outperformed KDB, Salah, and Bruno despite only having 1 fixture. So good to see that. I think especially now they'll, they have their single game week and the double game week out of the way. So going forward, I think both these guys are pretty important to get back in your teams now.
And then just kind of speaking on further on your team, bigging up your team a little bit more, Ollie Watkins returned to the scoring sheet as Villa kind of easily handled a Newcastle team that has been down all season.
Yep, yeah, Villa, their first match against City, I think they played pretty well, but were a little unlucky with the 20-yard offside goal for City, kind of sinking them. Terrible call. I don't understand that one at all, but, what can you do about it? But yeah, I think the return of Ross Barkley for both those matches really helped out. I know Ollie Watkins' original great run of form came with Barkley in the side, so looking forward to see how they kind of function going forward. I have pretty high hopes for Villa.
And they have a new good schedule coming up as well.
Yep.
Another thing with Newcastle, so they were a part of the double game week, and they had a big loss to Arsenal. Aubameyang finally back on the score sheet. He had a nice brace with Saka having a goal as well. Someone just to look out for, but Arsenal have a bad schedule, just letting you know. So overall, here's my team. Thank goodness for my defense, and specifically Manchester City. Someone we've been kind of high on all past 4 game weeks now. KDB, big injury. Vardy, big injury. So a lot of unfortunate things going on in my team. Obviously, I need to take a hit and replace both. I've already replaced KDB, and I've gone with Heung-min Son. And in terms of my forward replacement, I am highly thinking about Michail Antonio, an excellent forward, especially given his price. I just kind of wanted to wait the whole weekend, though. I know he's been injury prone the whole week, but he did play the full 90 in that second double game week, so he should be good to go for the upcoming fixtures. Jason, what do you think about those transfers in my team?
Yeah, I think you obviously have to replace Vardy and De Bruyne right now. There's so much value tied up in them that those are the immediate concerns. I like Son coming in as their De Bruyne replacement. It's as good as it gets based on what you have in your team right now. Vardy, yeah, I think Michail Antonio is going to be a great replacement. My other thought is, could you afford to do Kane for Vardy, and would you prefer that instead?
I like Spurs, but I don't know if I like him for double. They do have, so they have Liverpool, which is kind of a shaky defense right now, but really a very good team in general. And then on top of that, they have Manchester City coming up soon as well. I think within the next 4 game weeks, I want to say. We'll check the schedule out just to.
It's at least 5 game weeks out before they play City. Yeah.
Okay. I if I can afford it, maybe, but I want to do some other things with my team as well. I want to get out of Lacazette, which would have been my play if my injuries didn't occur. It would have been Antonio for Lacazette.
Okay.
But so I don't know if I want to double up on Spurs, basically. But I don't think it's a bad idea, and really one of the reasons I've fallen so much from top 41K to now 281 is because of the Kane and Son connection. On top of Bruno, which I just have him now.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to your squad. Congrats, 106 points. No cards played. Excellent job.
Thank you. Yeah, John Stones was obviously a huge part of my success. I did the City double up, obviously, with Cancelo as well, who got rested in one of the matches. But I keep saying he's due a huge haul at some point, given all the shots he's getting and the chances he's creating. So he's definitely a hold for me. Kind of moving up the field, obviously, I am not afraid to do the Son and Kane double up. I think it paid off again this week against Sheffield. Kane scoring, Son assisting. I think they're both holds for me going forward. I see them as set and forget options for sure. Same with Bruno Fernandes and Salah. Overall, I think there's a couple of areas of the team I'm looking at upgrading right now, but I'm not sure if I want to do it. So for me, one of the transfers I'm considering is Souček to Gundogan. I'm also considering Ollie Watkins to Antonio. And then possibly just getting Nathan Ferguson out for Tyreek Mitchell, who seems to have taken his spot back and is still 3.9. So I'm not sure which move I want to do now. I have 2 free transfers to play with. So I'll definitely be doing one of these moves for sure. But at this point, I'm just not sure because Watkins has nice fixtures coming up. Gundogan, I'm pretty high on, but at the same time, I'm not sure who I would bench at that point on my team because I have pretty strong attackers already. So a few things to ponder over.
Right. Obviously, I like your team. I like the call with the double Man City defense. And then on top of that, you have a West Ham defender. This is pretty much the perfect template, in my opinion, in terms of the starting 3 defenders. I would definitely... I'm high on Antonio, and that's definitely one I would want everyone to consider. In terms of your midfield, this is another excellent template right here. You have the Son and then the Egyptian King and Bruno. And then Grealish, he's got an excellent schedule coming up ahead. And then your budget option of Souček. Let's see how he works, how Antonio works into the team and how it affects all the other attackers. But for the prior game weeks and his form currently, he's been excellent. So overall, excellent squad. And let's just see what you do with Watkins, whether you want to keep him or not. Let's see. And then, as Ilkay already said, with Barkley returning, he might have more fantasy points.
He's got the underlying stats right now. He's got the fixtures, potential doubles. Got Barkley back. It's hard for me to sell him right now, as much as I love Antonio.
Yep. Okay, so speaking, just kind of move to the schedule. We said we like Aston Villa a ton. If you guys don't have Grealish or someone from Villa, whether that's Watkins, really take a look at that team. Now, Crystal Palace, Jason, what do you think of this team? Would you take anyone from them?
So, I think probably defensively is where I would lean. I think as of right now, we don't know if Zaha's healthy to play. So he'd be the obvious attacker if he was healthy. But for me, I like Tyreek Mitchell a lot. He's only 3.9. He seems to have won his starting place back. But at 3.9, even if he hasn't, he's just your bench enabler at that point. But he's a guy I wouldn't mind having for this upcoming fixture run for Palace. Can maybe work him in here and there when I can, especially in case a City defender gets benched for a week.
Okay. And then without Vardy, what do you think of Leicester, specifically their attack?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I was all high on Leicester. They were looking fantastic. With Vardy out, it kind of throws a wrench into the plans. I still like some of their midfielders, in particular Barnes and Maddison. Obviously, for me, Barnes edges it out just a bit. He's got the strong underlying stats that are, I guess, more backing up his performances right now than what Maddison has. So I don't know that I would dive into them immediately. I think I'd still prefer guys like Son, Rashford, maybe even Gundogan. But after that, I think the Leicester mids kind of come into my thinking.
Okay, yeah, kind of feel the same. And we kind of already spoken a lot on City and Man United. What do you think of? Would you rather, in terms of this KDB, would you rather downgrade to, say, a Gundogan / Foden, or maybe keep at the same level and kind of go high on Sterling?
I think for me personally, I'd lean towards going cheaper at that point. We all know Sterling has the explosive potential, but so far this year we just haven't quite seen it. And I almost worry without KDB in the squad if he'll be able to achieve that same explosive potential.
Right.
So for me, Gundogan's kind of a safer pick just because he's now on penalties, presumably with KDB out. Hopefully he keeps his more advanced role in the team instead of having to drop back deep. So we'll see how that shakes out now that KDB is out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, Gundogan has strong underlying stats to kind of back up what he's been doing recently. He's got a nice share of set pieces. Obviously, he's on PKs.
Right.
Foreign player right now.
Yeah, you can save some of that for your spotlight, Anyways, yeah, and then obviously, you choosing a midfielder outside of Man City is an excellent replacement, as well as I went with Son. And then obviously West Ham we've kind of talked about before as well. Cresswell, Soufal, Antonio, Souček. You guys know the names by now. And then quickly, just on United, obviously we're high on Bruno. Would you consider adding anyone else from United, whether that's defense or attack?
Yeah, I would consider it. Defense, it's almost more of a differential at this point because I'd personally rather go with like City defenders, West Ham defenders, maybe even like the cheap Palace guys, or James Justin is still appealing, even with Ricardo Pereira back. I still like him in that Leicester defense. I think he'll keep his spot one way or the other. But United, I think if you want to do an attacking double up, probably either Bruno is the obvious choice. Then I think with him you'd want either Rashford or Cavani. Martial's form is just still not quite there. Rashford did limp off in the FA Cup today, so I would check back on his injury status before you do anything there. But I think it'd be more of a differential type thing. But with that fixture list, it's not a bad way to take a punt.
Okay. And here is our watch list. Kind of players we've been speaking about throughout. Really no new additions compared to last week, correct, Jason?
There's a few on here. Michail Antonio is the big one.
Oh, okay.
I think we let him off last time because we weren't sure about his health yet. He's proved that, obviously. So now he's on. Another one I put on here is Paul Pogba. He's been on great scoring form recently. One shout I'm going to have, though, obviously I didn't mention him in my United double up when I was talking about that. I think his underlying stats, he's overperforming them a little bit right now. I'm just not confident he's going to keep up the same level of attacking returns. I think he's playing better in real life than he is for fantasy right now. So that's why I'd still prefer guys like Rashford or Cavani if you want to do the double up there.
Okay. Now let's move on to the player spotlight. Jason, you got Gundogan. Tell me about why you chose this player.
The man of the moment right now, one way or the other. I think everyone wants to know how legit is he. I think based on what he's done these last few weeks, he's very legit. These stats are from the last 4 matches. So obviously, he's had KDB in the team most of the time. He's getting into these attacking positions. With KDB out, is he going to have to drop deeper to be a more deep line playmaker? We're not sure on that yet. So that's the big caveat with him. But obviously, the big thing with KDB out is he will be on penalties and probably have a greater share of free kicks. But outside of that, let's look at what he's been doing. So over this four match period, and then compared to all FPL midfielders, he's number 2 overall for attempts in the box with 12. Number 4 for expected goals at 1.93. So it's really not a fluke that he's scoring so well. I think he is overperforming his stats a little bit, but they're still pretty strong. So he has room to go down and still get plenty of stats for you, especially with a 5.5 price. And then kind of underlining his set piece threat, he's number 2 for attempts from set plays with 5 total over these last 4 matches. So for me, he's definitely, backing up the strong fantasy stats he's been showing for us. It is risky, obviously, with KDB out, but at 5.5, I think he's a risk worth taking if you're looking for a replacement.
Right, an excellent budget midfielder. Not necessarily like specifically a KDB replacement in terms of the price point, but just kind of someone you can add to the midfield and then maybe strengthen, maybe upgrade to a Kane or something in the forward spot.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's also, a key thing that, KDB is the main set piece taker for City, and now kind of seems like Gundogan will have a large amount of those set pieces, which City are not bad at. Okay. So Jason, tell me a little bit about this Game Week 20 checklist for green arrows, which I need and our viewers really need as well.
Yeah, so Game Week 20, what are the big talking points that are going to get green arrows? First, we've already touched on this a lot, but finding your KDB and Vardy replacements. I think the majority of you guys out there probably have at least one of them, so I think that's going to be key to figure that out. We've already given plenty of options, so I would say, pour over these options and choose whichever one you like best. Number 2, hold or buy your Aston Villa and West Ham assets. I think defensively and attacking-wise, both these teams are pretty great. They have great fixtures. Villa likely have some double game weeks coming up, so I think these are both squads you can invest in for a nice budget price to kind of fill out your roster around your premiums. Number 3, if you got out of them, which I didn't, obviously, it's time to get back into your Spurs attackers. Their single game week is out of the way now. They are in form. I think they're going to keep up their nice pace right now. Kane and Son, I'm talking about in particular, obviously. They do have Liverpool and Chelsea in the next 4 game weeks, but as we've seen, Liverpool's definitely been out of form recently, and Chelsea have been, completely out of form, especially defensively. I think they've had the joint number of most big chances conceded in the entire league over the past 4 matches. And Spurs are one of the top teams in big chances created. So that combination could be great for Kane and Son when they meet up with Chelsea, in addition to their easier fixtures as well. Number 4, I think Man City. The defense is really the essential part where you're going to get most of your points from. There's just so much uncertainty in the attack right now with Pep rotation, KDB out. Aguero could be back soon. Who knows? That's why defense is the way to go. Gundogan at 5.5 is my big pick because, if he gets rotated or whatever, it's not a huge deal because he's probably going to be your 4th or 5th midfielder at that point. Captain options for Game Week 20. Slim pickings with Liverpool playing Spurs this week. I'm a little hesitant to captain anyone from that match just in case. But for me, I think Bruno against Sheffield is the standout option. Rashford, check back on his health before you do anything, but I think he could be another great option. looked in much better form against Liverpool in the Cup this weekend. And then if you want to have kind of a cheeky little differential, I think even captaining a City defender could be a great way to get some points. They're going up against West Bromwich Albion, who tend to be stronger defensively against the top teams than they are more of a threat offensively. So if you want to go with like a Diaz or a Cancelo being rested in the FA Cup, obviously, I think those would be some great options too if you want to kind of have that little differential pick that most people probably aren't going to do.
Right. So in terms of captaincy, I think I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes. A little bit of a safe play, a big hitter. Someone we saw him score the winning goal today against Liverpool.
Yeah, I think we should also point out that Bruno did get rested in the FA Cup today. He just came on for the last 15 to 20 minutes and scored the winner in that time. So he should be ready to go against Sheffield.
Yeah, and against an excellent fixture there. So Man United. And how about yourself, Jason? Who are you going with?
I'm going Bruno for sure.
Okay.
I think for my vice captain, I'd probably put it in either Son or a City defender, but I don't think it's going to really matter because I do believe Bruno will play for sure. I don't see any way around that.
Okay. All right, yeah, overall, I definitely agree with the checklist, and I think the only thing I would maybe even bump Man City defense to number 2, number 2. Really, everyone should probably consider doubling up on him.
Yeah, if you had to choose one, who would it be? Like a Stones, Diaz, Cancelo? Who would your top captain choice be?
Obviously, I think Stones overperformed.
Oh yeah,
he had a brace. With that said, they seem like a lock now as the center back pairing.
For sure.
Diaz has always been my number 1. Cancelo, he's yet to really. Everyone's waiting on him to get that explosive points, but he has yet to deliver. I question whether he will deliver. I question Man City's attack now without KDB.
I will point out Cancelo, despite getting rested in the FA Cup, did get an assist when he came on at the end. So naturally, his attacking return finally happened, but it was not in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a sign of things to come. Who knows?
Right. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I mean, number 1 for me is Ruben Diaz.
Yep, safe option.
Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of recommendations, these are our top 3 recommendations for the upcoming game weeks. Obviously, we all know of Bruno Fernandes, how consistent he is. Man United are top of the table, and this is the man for them, really. Obviously, Pogba's had an excellent run as well, though. I see Bruno with this excellent schedule really shining, and if you guys don't have him, you might see some red arrows. Up next is going to be Heung-min Son. This guy is excellent against the top teams. He had 2 goals against Man United, 1 goal against Manchester City, 1 goal against Arsenal, and 1 goal against Liverpool. So yes, he's got Liverpool up next, but I don't think that, if anything, that plays into how he performs as a counter-attacker, how we see Kane become Kane De Bruyne, and then Son become the head spear of the counter-attack. So
yeah, I think it's worth pointing out he'll be up against the terribly out of form Trent Alexander-Arnold right now. So that's almost unfair.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw like the whole strategy of Mourinho's strategy in the. I don't know how much I want to get into it, but yeah, I mean, I thought the Mourinho strategy originally in that first game worked well. It was an unlucky loss. We saw in today's game, Liverpool get caught out again on the first goal, specifically Trent, or I think it was Robertson. But yeah, the counterattack, I could see goals against Liverpool. And then finally, Antonio, he's finally healthy. This is someone I've wanted on my squad pretty much all season long, and now we kind of finally got him to that health status that he's not a concern, specifically that hamstring. Jason, tell me about your recommendations.
Yep, first up, same as you, Bruno Fernandes. I think you already covered him off pretty well. We all know about him already. Secondly, this one is kind of a coin flip for me between Kane and Son. I ended up going Kane. I think his underlying stats have been a little better recently, but you could say anyway either. They're both fantastic. I want both of them on my team. Lastly, I'm going with my City defender. I'm saying Ruben Diaz. He's the Mr. Consistent and the one guaranteed starter we know about. That said, I do think Cancelo has obviously more explosive potential. But for me, if you're looking 4 game weeks into the future, I think it's best to go with the consistent option.
Yep, exactly. All right, just a quick shout out to our league. A new number 1, Aaron Mills, or Andromeda FC. Phil remains in the top 3. Jason has climbed. Now you are number 6. And I have fallen outside the top 10.
Oof. Wow, that hurts.
So all kinds of changes as expected with such a big double game week and a blank game week as before. So a lot of changes in FPL. I didn't expect anything less than that. And obviously, guys, we have a whole half a season left. I mean, yeah, it's game week 20. So anything can happen. You know, if you guys are really in that top 250K, really anything can happen. Any final words, Jason?
Yeah, I just say, we made it through the hectic holiday fixtures. We made it through the first blank and double game weeks. And I think hopefully we'll get more information on the upcoming double game weeks and blanks soon enough. But I think for now, I'm just focusing on this run of games between 20 and 26. Really try to get my returns there. And I think 26 is probably gonna be the next major double game week, I believe. So might be a good time for wild cards, but for now I'm just focusing on these next 5-6 game weeks. Get as many green arrows as possible.
Right. Yep. We hope everyone green arrows. Best of luck with game week 20. Again, if you like the content, give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well. We will answer any questions you guys have on your teams then. Keep an eye out for our upcoming UEFA Champions League previews in February. I'm also very much looking forward to that starting up again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really ready for the Champions League to start back up. Top 5K in that, so I'm hoping to get into the top 1K soon enough.
Excellent. All right, cheers, guys. Take care.
All right, see ya.